You know, I really wonder what anime will be like in the future.
It's funny you should ask that. I made a time machine again.
That's a microwave with a lever, a sandwich, and... Is that my cat duct taped to it?
Of course, it needs it for the Eternal Motion Engine. We'll just jump forward and take a peek.
Don't do it.
See, where have you been?
The future. They made a live action of One Punch Man.
Oh yeah, we knew that. That's already in the works right now.
Yeah, but they cast Adam Sandler as Saitama.
What?
What? No.
Oh, Hestia, no. We have to do something about this.
Whatever you do, don't listen to her.
D2? 2 Ds?
If you try and fix it, it gets worse.
How much worse are we talking?
5 words. Dragon Ball Evolution. The musical.
Oh.
No.
Don't try and stop the musical. It's replaced by something even more heinous.
More heinous than a Garlic Jr. love ballad?
You know the guy from The Room?
Tommy Wiseau?
He's bought the rights to Naruto.
Oh.
He's writing, producing, directing, and starring in it.
Oh no, who has?
Naruto.
Oh,
And Hinata.
no. Oh man.
Oh man, I thought my future was bad. Yeah, yours wins D3. I'm gonna go back to the musical.
Tetsuo! Kaneda! It's over 9,000! Nani?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio!
Konnichiwa, and welcome to another episode of Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast where we look into the world of anime and manga. I'm Kyle, and joining me are my co-hosts Kenny and Dee, who has safely returned from fixing the future, it seems.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of had to borrow your cat to power the time machine.
I made the thing and I even don't know how it really works.
Seems the future has no PowerPoints and instead uses feline power.
Oh, okay.
I stopped by in 2012 too and fixed that.
Wait, fixed what?
Exactly. You're welcome.
God. Anyway, we've been watching anime that is currently available, not anime from the future or the 24th century. But we've been checking out some of the ones that have been airing this year and some back catalogue stuff too. I think, Kenny, you're watching a Tome game one?
Yes, My Life as a Villainess. This is an isekai one which... the second we heard it, we thought, okay, yes, that is exactly the kind of thing we want. And I don't know, I'm 4 episodes in. Am I allowed to give any gentle spoilers?
Well, I think for anyone who's seen the preview, they'll kind of get where you're heading with this.
Yeah.
She has a harem.
Oh, what a surprise.
She has a multi-gender harem.
Yep.
That's
And
amazing.
she's semi-clueless about it.
Oh.
That's even better. I love it.
Wonderful. I love this show.
This is this story about a girl who we believe dies and then is reincarnated inside of a dating game.
As the villainess, the love rival who always ends up either dead or banished to a foreign land.
Yeah.
Which is why the secondary line is all routes lead to doom.
Exactly. It's like whoever she dates, if she follows the story as it is in the game, doom. But the way she's sort of played with causality in this, I think it's more likely that everyone will kill each other fighting over her.
Oh no. So essentially she has become the ultimate villain.
Pretty much. She may have doomed the entire world.
Oh, God. Well, I've been watching a heartfelt story called Sing Yesterday for me.
Yes.
To me, for me. Yesterday
For
to
me.
me.
At me.
Around me.
Yesterday.
In and around me.
Yes. Anyway,
Anyway,
for
yes,
me.
it's a beautiful show. This is based on a manga from the late 90s, early 2000s, which has won some awards and is just very heartfelt by the community. It's about, it almost feels like a coming of age story, except they're all adults. They're all dealing with, the challenges of leaving university and going, what do I do with my life? And also, leaving high school or having a job, or what does love actually mean in this modern era? And it addresses a lot of these big questions, which a lot of people deal with now in modern media. And this is almost 20 years old.
I've only seen a little bit of this one, but what are we thinking? Is this going to turn into a kind of romantic dumpster fire like Domestic Girlfriend?
This is not a domestic girlfriend.
No. I hope this is heartfelt.
This looks very heartfelt, and from everything I've read from people who've reviewed the manga and stuff, it sounds beautiful. Oh, I'm trying to think of probably the nearest comparison, but like...
But is this just something that's going to make people ugly cry by the end?
Oh, yeah. I really expect there to be some ugly crying by
That's
the end of this.
That's the end goal, to be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest. If you're getting stuck into romance animes or mangas, that's pretty much where you're expected to go. Like, you need to have that ugly cry and then the uplift afterwards. And then you're just like, yes.
That's how you get your serotonin.
Yeah, it is. It's how you get your hit.
Yeah.
I need my hit.
To start with depression and then get build up? Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah.
But that actually brings us on to something from the back catalogue, which you've been looking at, Dee.
I have, yes. So I have been watching Inuyasha. It's been on my list for goodness knows how long. I have had so many people tell me that I should watch it because it's right up my alley. And so I started it with the news that there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah, or a
Kind of?
spin-off
A spin-off?
thing. Or...
So I was like, well, maybe it's time to watch it so that I actually understand all of the memes that are going out. And I am so in love with it.
Yeah?
I love it. It's so good. It's so early 2000. Like it started in 2000.
I remember Coco and I had a feud over me calling it Dragon Ball Z for girls.
How dare you? How dare you?
It begins anew.
Oh, no. Well, we should probably talk about what we are doing this episode. And as you might have guessed from our wacky opener, we're talking about time travel.
It's always a terrible idea.
Yeah, and while there are a great range of time travel animes out there, such as Orange, Sagrada Reset, Erased, there's quite a lot.
Does Steins Gate count?
Steins Gate kind of straddles the timeline, alternative dimensions border, so it's a bit of both.
Gotcha.
But we've kind of settled on talking about a couple of films and something from Kyo-Ani's back catalogue, which we've touched on before. And hey, obviously, if you are enjoying what you're hearing so far, maybe hit that subscribe button because we need love. Please,
We need
love
it.
us.
Yes, in this time of hardship.
Gimme.
Gimme.
No, wait. What is it that every other ad is saying? It's not in this time of hardship.
Oh, in this time of uncertainty.
In this time, yes.
In this time of uncertainty, you can rely on Kawaii-Fi Anime to bring you the latest news, reviews, and gossip from around the world.
We need soft
Please
guitar
sign
music
up.
to back us up.
we need like someone on a ukulele, like
Sad
no whistle.
ukulele.
Sad ukulele.
Just like no. Look, but before we do get into this episode stuff, we are going to talk about the news.
Making headlines.
Really?
Sort of.
Anime news.
Well, it is time to once again look at what's been going on in the world of anime and manga the past fortnight. And of course, that means we need to talk about, well, Inuyasha and the spin-off.
Yes, that's what that means we need to talk about.
Yeah, this time it does, because we talked about it earlier, we mentioned it, and if we didn't, it would be a crime.
It would be,
let's be honest
absolutely.
here.
This is true.
Now-
So, tell us more.
Well, this is a new anime spin-off of the series titled Yashahime Princess Half Demon, which is a cool, pretty sounding name for it too. And it's expected to release in fall this year, which is October?
October would be the end of fall.
Would it be?
No, November. October, November, I reckon.
October, November, yeah. But it's part of the fall season, and it's if you've read like Ranma or read or watched Ranma original Inuyasha, the manga creator for all those, Rumiko Takahashi, she's designed all the new characters, so it's going to be consistent
Smashing.
to the original one.
It's gonna be so good.
And so much of the original Inuyasha team has actually reunited over at Sunrise to create this.
That's actually really cool. It's like
Yeah.
all that really suggests to me is that they like really enjoyed working on it and just want more of that.
Yeah,
Which
is
says
really
great things
cool.
about a studio and an anime.
They want to create probably just another Inuyasha.
I hope so.
I'm so excited.
Like if we could get like another 7 seasons,
man.
just like come on, let's do it. Let's
Please.
let's do something nuts this time.
It worked for Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think that the original episode director is the director. The script writer's returned. The character designer has returned to adapt what Rumiko has designed.
More beautiful anime boys.
Yep, and music composer of the original series has also returned. Some of the animators are back. It's just kind of a bit like this is going to be an all-star cast.
That's great.
Behind
I'm
the
actually
scenes.
going to need to watch this anime though.
I'm
Yeah.
keen for like a rejig of the early like 2000s anime style, but in like with modern like editing because it's going to be so good. It's going to be so
Yeah.
smooth. It's
That
going to be
would be
beautiful.
lovely.
Beautiful. But yeah, they've kind of set out an interesting storyline for this because the daughters of Sesshomaru and Inuyasha set out on a journey transcending time
Oh, God.
What a surprise. It kind of fits in what we're talking about this
Enough
week.
with time travel. It's a terrible idea.
So in feudal Japan, half-demon twins Toa and Setsuna are separated from each other during a forest fire, and while desperately searching for her younger sister, Toa wanders into a mysterious tunnel that sends her into present-day Japan, where she found and raised by Kagome Higarashi's brother, Sota, and his family. 10 years later, said tunnel that connects the two eras has reopened, allowing Toa to be reunited with Setsuna, who is now a demon slayer. But to her shock, Setsuna appears to have lost all memories of her older sister. So, joined by Moroha, the daughter of Inuyasha and Kagome, the three young women travel between the two eras back and forth on an adventure to regain their missing past. So, it's time travel.
It absolutely is time travel.
It's going to be amazing.
There's a lot of talk of who the daughters are.
Is there?
Yeah, who the other partners, the mothers and dads are. So,
I'm
which is
going
actually
to
what got
assume
me
like
into it.
probably other characters from the series and all that.
There's a lot of people, I don't quite understand like the references behind it just yet because I haven't gotten far enough into it, but there's a lot of people saying that they think it might be Rin is one of the mothers, but I don't know who Rin's character is yet, so.
I feel like probably an antagonist of some form.
Absolutely, considering the memes that came out about it, it's probably a bad time, but I'm really excited. It's going to be really good.
It's going to be great. And, Rumiko Takahashi's stuff just, it lasts forever.
Absolutely.
Like, it's hilarious that you can watch Ranma today and it's still funny, despite, the changes in, attitudes towards gender and so on. And it's still funny.
Yeah,
So-
even with Inuyasha, like watching the original, like Kagome is a very strong female character, and that was great for the fact that it came out in 2000.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we also need to talk about Brand New Animal because that's coming back, coming to international Netflix on June 30th.
At last. Been holding out for this.
Oh, I know.
so
We saw
excited.
the preview. I can't remember if Dee saw the preview with us or if it was just it must have
was
just been
later.
you and me, Kenny, because I think it was before you joined us. We saw like they released the first 3 episodes on Netflix in Japan, as like a quick hello, have a look at this for like this weekend, and we were just like, on the phone, hey mate, we've got a friend in Japan, as we've mentioned in previous podcasts, and we're just like, we need your login again. Can we get on there and just like have a quick check of it? And it's like, this looks amazing.
It looks,
Gonna need to buy that guy a beer.
Yeah,
so good.
it looks like Promare the series essentially, just that it's
Very
Which we
pro-man.
wanted, but
Very pro-man.
very Promare.
Absolutely.
But English subtitle promo trailer video is out on Twitter. The
Check it
video,
out.
well, if you don't know about Brand New Animal, it's about a world where there's animal humans, what do you call it? Anthropomorphized animal humans, essentially. And
smash Zootopia and Dragon Ball together. Let's see what happens.
dark and gritty. I know I say like Beastars is dark and gritty
Yes.
Zootopia, but this is dark gritty Zootopia with Dragon Ball vibes.
Yes, with more
Human
human
elements to it.
people.
Yeah.
Instead of just being
Animalist.
fairies.
Yeah. It's humans with animal
characteristics.
yeah. But I haven't seen any cat girls, which actually makes me quite pleased because I feel like that would kind of immediately, if they did that I've only seen like the images from the first few episodes, but if they did that, I feel like it would immediately take away from all the other unique looking characters they've got, like, a wolf guy or a jaguar girl and stuff like that.
Raccoon.
And a mink, I believe.
Yeah, there's a mink. No, she's
like
not a
minks.
raccoon. She's a tanuki.
Tanuki,
which is
my bad.
essentially a raccoon. So
Yes,
they're just
almost.
cooler and appear
are
in
cooler.
Mario. So
And Animal Crossing.
oh, they do too, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And we obviously need to talk about the ever-growing list of coronavirus delays. I'll go through this quickly. So Pokemon's upcoming 23rd film has been delayed due to the virus shutdown in cinemas. Meant to open on July 10. Also, Pokemon Twilight Wings, which airs on YouTube, the short, 10-minute episode thing. Also had its upcoming 5th episode delayed till June 5th. That's a month delay because they're releasing them once a month. Season 2 of Quintessential Quintuplets, originally slated for October, is now delayed till January next year. The season's Gal and Dino has delayed its future episodes. Episodes 1 to 5 are now re-airing in place of episode 8 onwards. Unclear when that's coming back for the rest of it, but the studio says they do still plan to finish it. Bungo and Alchemists episode 5, 6, and 7 are now going to air this month after episode 4 was actually delayed for 2 weeks. So we thought there was going to be another delay, but no, seems they're good. Food Wars 5th season, not returning till July, with 3 episode 3 onwards delayed. They're currently re-airing episode 4 in its place. So, if people are behind, then at least that's a way to do it. Return date not locked in for that. They say July or later. So
that's never a good time.
No. Season 3 of teen romantic comedy Snafu, similarly rescheduled for July, possibly later due to virus. But there is some good news. Sing Yesterday for Me, Arte, and Sentence of a Bookworm have all announced on Twitter they've completed production, are ready to air their entire season. So no delays for these 3. They will be consistent for the rest of the season. I believe Listeners also announced something with Mappa saying that they were almost done.
Fantastic.
And then there's been a couple of others who've just went, well, we're not going to finish.
Sorry, guys.
So, yeah. Now, also making the news over the past fortnight. So there have been several new animes added to streaming service catalogues this past fortnight. Funimation have added the missing Monogatari franchise episodes, along with Kill la Kill, Erased, and Occultic 9. Crunchyroll have also added almost the entire back catalogue of the City Hunter series, including the series 1 to 4th season, and TV specials and films. And HBO have announced the new streaming platform will be launching with 17 anime series taken from Crunchyroll's back catalogue, and they're going to add more every quarter. Funimation have announced it's going to hold its Funimation Con 2020 anime convention virtually on July 3 and 4. This event has been described as a 2-day stream of cosplay meetups, industry panels, Q&A sessions, and more, according to the company. And that's obviously in place of their series that they, the convention they were meant to be doing on July 1 and 2. So at least it's only a couple of days later. Heading to the bookshelves, Shonen Jump has teased a special project is in the works for The Promised Neverland, with the manga expected to end soon. The series has a 2nd season anime in the works, along with the live-action film due for release towards the end of the year and into next year. Also entering its final arc is the novel series For That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. Its 18th volume is marking the start of the finale. Author Fuse has said he's considering writing a series of spin-off series after the franchise is complete, but there's no confirmed details on what these stories will entail or when they'll be set. And in dub news, Crunchyroll has debuted English dubs for Tower of God, My Next Life as a Villainess, and The Eighth Son Are You Kidding Me over the past fortnight, with the dub series expected to release weekly from here on out. And some of the previously halted dubs are also returning, including Somali and the Forest Spirit, Science Fell in Love, Inspector, and Welcome to Demon School Arumako. All these are returning to finish their runs, once again returning to a weekly schedule. And High Dive have announced English dubs for both Senryu Girl and Run with the Wind are now live on their streaming platforms, so you can check them out right now. And that's your anime news for the week ending May 17, 2020.
Kawaii-Fi Radio. We'll be there on time. There's 20 minutes of ads.
Cinema Club.
Right now, I would give a lot to have 20 minutes of ads.
Kind
Right.
of miss
I would
cinemas.
pay for those 20 minutes of ads.
I'd pay for those 20 minutes of ads. I miss the cinemas so much.
Yes, but I feel
popcorn.
like it would be unwise to go immediately after
Yes.
everything reopens.
There's a lot of memes going around saying, like the first wave of people to head out after the coronavirus restrictions are lifted. And it's like, they show pictures of lemmings or red shirts from Star Trek.
I've seen one of
Yes.
Magneto going, in chess, the pawns go first.
But hopefully we'll be able to hit the cinemas soon and see, some of the films that have been delayed, and that will hopefully be getting again soon. But that brings us on to our first time-traveling wonder. And Dee, I believe this was the first time you saw it.
It was. So we are talking about The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Which I utterly adore.
Oh, it was beautiful. I don't think I was quite emotionally ready for that roller coaster of a time.
I know.
It's got massive acclaim in the anime community, which is, goes without saying.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see.
Yeah, it's always been one that I kind of saw in the background and was like, I'll watch that eventually. It's on my list. I'll get there
It's
eventually.
got cool cover art.
It has really cool cover art. I was like, why is there a girl jumping? I don't understand.
And then after a while, you start realizing,
You're like, I get it
Ah,
now. So it originally came out in 2006, which when we found out, we were all quite shocked. The
Yeah.
art style is beautiful. It's
It's
very
really
smooth.
lasted.
For its time, it must have been just ludicrously amazing.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting art style.
Yeah, because the lines aren't always very heavily defined, are they?
Yeah, and it's very flat. There's not a lot of shading in a lot of the characters, which is an interesting design choice, but it works fantastically
That's
for it.
kind of indicative of the director's work. That's Mamoru Hosoda, or Hosoda Mamoru.
I think so. One of the ways.
One of the ways, yes. And he's done work on the Digimon movie ages ago. Summer Wars, which I think came after this one. I don't know. But yeah, his art style is very recognizable.
Yes, absolutely. Watching like other work that he'd done after watching this one, I was like, I see it.
Yeah.
It just got kind of more fancy as more tools came out.
It's kind of like seeing Makoto Shinkai. You know it's one of his works.
Yes.
Yeah, because you go look at all the pretty rain and the lights and the
beautiful.
lens flare, but nice lens flare. Not J.J. Abrams' lens flare where it blinds you. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's a time and place for it, and you don't want it in every scene.
Kind of almost like a little slice of life, a little bit of a snippet, which is nice. I think a lot of the time when it comes to like time travel animes and stuff like that, it's like worldly consequences of changing time.
Yeah, it's so serious.
Yeah, where it's kind of just one person's, kind of one person's.
I mean, it does have like
actions.
a flow-on effect. It kind of embraces the idea of the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Where one action can cascade and cause many other things to happen.
But at the same time, it doesn't go heavy into the time travel, space-time continuum technobabble, which is always nice, but it does lead to the people who are exposed to that thing regularly wondering what's happening. It's like,
you see,
okay, so
I
is she
remember-
removing herself from these timelines? What's going on?
I remember I tried to explain to you how Infinity War worked, and you were just like, nah.
Yeah, no, Infinity War is one of those ones you can't really explain without watching it.
The way they
Oh,
explain
no,
it.
after he'd watched it, I explained how it worked, and he still wasn't pleased.
Oh.
He's like, no, you've broken it.
No, it works.
No, it doesn't. Debate for another time.
We'll just all agree that time travel's a bad idea and none of us should do it.
Yes, I've told you guys this thing many times. We've had this conversation 8 times. Don't do time travel.
Don't do it.
I'll put the cat down.
So a girl who leapt through time follows Makoto Kono.
Yes.
Yes, and
Kono
she is
Makoto?
a yes. and
Kono
she's a-
Makoto Kono.
Makoto.
Kono.
Sorry. We
she's
need
a
to
high
learn which ways.
schooler, and it kind of follows her like slice of life adventures with her 2 male best friends, which I think is a lovely touch because in a lot of animes you see it tends to be just one guy and 2 girls, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that's how friendships work. But it's nice because she's kind of a tomboy. She's kind of out there.
Yeah.
She has the generic anime protagonist of being late a lot.
Yeah. But she never had toast in her mouth at a single point.
No, she didn't, but she was eating breakfast at one point, I think,
Yeah,
whilst
it's
going
like-
at the door. There
It's
was
kind of
rice
the
or something.
staple. If you're late for something, you have toast in your mouth.
I was doing
With a
that on
big
the way
glob of
here with a
butter.
muffin, to be honest.
Oh,
I was driving
really?
with a muffin. Don't do that, kids.
I think I'm going to have to go buy a muffin after this. I don't really want a muffin coffee.
I want muffin.
There's a lot of really beautiful themes throughout it as well. There's kind of like they play basketball. Not basketball.
Baseball.
They're vastly different sports.
Do you remember I did that a few weeks ago?
Played baseball.
No, said baseball when I meant basketball and vice
there
versa
you go.
for Hiranosora. It's
just opposite
see,
way
they're just
around.
clearly
But so
interlinked.
yeah, something happens to change the paradigm of her daily life, doesn't it?
Yes. So she just before this big shift happens, she sees something written on a blackboard that says "Time waits for no one."
Yeah, written
I
in
think.
broken Japanese.
Yes, there's a little emoji under it. It's very cute. And then she is in a science room, gets startled by something and falls on a walnut-shaped object, which she doesn't know what it is.
And
And
it
then,
just disintegrates.
yeah, it just disintegrates in her hand. She doesn't understand what's going on. And then, it's already been a very unlucky day for her. It
I
starts
love
out
how
with
the
a very
episode
lucky
starts
day.
out. That day
Movie.
starts out her saying, "I'm normally a lucky person," and she just has bad luck the entire
Honestly,
day.
the worst day.
Consistently.
Absolutely. Bad things don't happen in threes to her. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Every time.
In 300s.
A guy gets thrown at her.
Yeah.
She flunks a test. What else was there? She ran late. Very late.
She burned a tempura, which started a
That's
fire.
right. Yes, it started a fire. she burned a tempura, which then scared someone when she backed into them, and then they threw something, and then it started a massive fire.
Yep.
It was just a bad time all around.
But there was good cabbage, so that's important.
There was good cabbage. It means it's a good anime. Yes,
Exactly.
Be educated too on that joke.
And then there's an issue with her bike as well.
Yes, a very maybe fatal issue with her
Yeah.
bike. That was the moment where I knew that I was going to be in for the long haul for this film, and it was going to be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, her brakes fail at a train crossing.
At the bottom of a hill.
Mm-hmm. And then suddenly she ends up back in time.
She's back again. She's back in a situation that she thought she was in maybe 2 seconds ago. And so she kind of picks herself up and goes and visits her witch aunt, which she's not actually a witch.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
love
what
how they
calls
call her Auntie Witch, and it's like she works in a
That's
museum,
what I want to
guys.
be.
An
I
art
want to be
gallery.
named that.
Auntie
But
Witch.
yeah, it's so she explains the weird happening beforehand to her Auntie Witch, and the Auntie Witch is just like, "Oh yeah, you time jumped."
Everyone
Yeah,
does it. I was like,
yeah.
what?
Girls your age do it all the time. It's called time leaping.
It's like,
and
is this a thing you do?
Dee, have you ever time leaped?
I'm not telling you my secrets.
Can you tell me tomorrow's lotto numbers, please?
No.
It's a rule against the continuum. I cannot reveal.
I can't
the
reveal
future.
it. I can't do it. I can't change it. Although,
You get chased by Doc Brown if you do.
Yeah.
Great Scott!
I think he'd be real mad at me. I don't want him to be disappointed in me, to be honest.
Run you over with a DeLorean, and they're not like cars.
No, that would hurt.
hurt a
especially
lot.
at 80 kilometers an 80 miles
80
an hour or
88
something.
miles
When this
an
Yeah.
hour.
baby hits 88 miles
That's
per hour,
what it is.
you're
Gonna
going to see some
die.
serious.
You're going to see some serious pain, that's
Yes.
for sure. But, I mean, this is one of those films that just tugs at the heartstrings the whole way through. And I feel like, as you said, in that first 10 minutes, it pulls you in very quickly.
Oh, so quickly. There's just such relatable characters, especially as like high schoolers.
Their dialogue together, it's very, very natural, very charming.
Yeah, and because we're so used to seeing like anime characters in high school who are just kind of a bit too ideal, if that makes sense. Like they're
yeah.
idealized versions of what high school life is like. And this doesn't really idealize it. You know, you see other kids getting bullied. You see people getting in trouble. You see people struggling to communicate.
Yeah.
And the way the voice actors do it is amazing too.
Oh, it's beautiful. And what's nice is that none of kind of like the main 3 or 4 characters are like the school president or like the class president or anything.
Yeah.
They're just
Student
kind of
council
characters.
president,
Yeah, student
Yeah.
council president. I think the only one that's kind of like a high achiever is Kisaki, who is
yeah.
studying to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Or his dad is a doctor and he's studying to do medicine, and he brings it up a couple of times just saying that, you know, he needs to do better.
Yeah.
Because this is what he wants and that's his goal and he's trying to achieve it, which is really, really beautiful because it kind of makes them relatable that they're working towards a goal. They're not
Yeah.
just suddenly really good at something.
Yeah, and you know, he's a good-looking dude.
He is, he's
so
very
all
cute.
the girls are looking at him in the class, and you know, trying to peek at him, and everyone's like, "Ooh, is he dating anyone?"
Yeah, is
And-
him and Makoto dating?
No,
Who knows?
And at a point, Makoto tries to play with that whole thing. She actually tries to set him up a couple of times, and like you said, communication fails a few times, and
Oh,
so
real badly.
It just ends with a.
I feel when you're the one person that knows how every timeline's supposed to go and you say something to someone and they haven't experienced that same timeline, it's just going to be a bad time.
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
terrified if my friend told me that all of a sudden I was doing something or someone was like my partner, and I'd be like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
How do you know that? Oh, you told me, just not yet. Spoilers.
I mean, like, there's those two and Chiaki, the 3 of them together, all hang
Absolutely.
out. They play baseball. I don't know if it really qualifies as baseball or more catch, but
Well,
like-
it's definitely argued throughout it about
Yeah.
whether it's actually baseball or whether it's just catch.
Yeah.
Chiaki definitely teases Makoto a lot throughout the film, and it's really, really beautiful.
it is. The dynamic between the 3 of them is just so well done, and you know, when you start seeing odd things happening like in the background or these little scenes that are inserted at the start, that all start to piece together the further you get in. So
Yeah,
you've got,
absolutely.
I mean, I know that's typically how films play out, but this does a really good job with the breadcrumb trail because it's not too over the top. It's not too obvious. It's just like, you know, oh, you thought that was just a scenery shot, but something that
But
happened in that
actually-
scenery shot was something important.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like little bits and pieces that are kind of themes throughout it. Like there's lots of ladybugs every now and then
Yeah.
throughout the film, which I thought was a really cute touch. At first, I was like, "Oh, cute ladybugs," and then I started seeing them more and more, and I was like, "Oh, they mean something."
Which is just adorable.
Oh, it's such a nice thing to have as like a continuum, because obviously, there's the butterfly effect, which everyone kind of sees. You're like, oh yeah, it's a blue butterfly. Okay, it's the butterfly effect. Having ladybugs is kind of like a nice twist on it, because it also makes it more.
I wonder if that is Japan's equivalent, like, because obviously, like, ladybugs are a bit more, at least they were at least a lot more common in Japan than, butterflies.
Blue butterflies.
Blue butterflies. But I wonder if it's like a local, regional belief or something similar to that. Yeah, we should look into it. Well, look, this is something that I feel like if you're into any form of anime film, you should check out at some point.
It's really good because it kind of caters to everyone. It's got slice of life. It's like kind of romance. It's time travel.
Bit of sci-fi.
There's a little bit of sci-fi in there.
Bit of drama too.
There's a bit of drama. It pulls at your heartstrings. I was tearing up a little bit towards the end, and then like the credits rolled, and I just sobbed.
You did.
I don't think I moved the last like half hour of the film.
I looked over at you, and you just been sitting there with your hands up next to your face for like a good 40 minutes.
Yeah, I got pins and needles in my hands because I didn't move them for so long.
She hasn't moved. Is she okay? Are you alive?
Not okay.
I'm fine.
I don't know. I'd say that is a winning endorsement.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I love this film. It pulls you in straight away. It keeps you really, really tied in for so long, and there's nothing that really breaks your immersion, which is wonderful.
This is great as well because it's actually quite widely available thanks to Funimation. You can catch it on Funimation, Wakanim, Anime Lab. It all depends on your region. If it's not on them, it'll be on Amazon or Netflix. They both have it as well. And then even some of your third-party services like YouTube actually sell the like through Google Play. You can buy it through there. So there's a lot of ways for you to get access to it.
But if you're like D and this is something you've seen in the background and just been putting off saying you're going to watch it, do yourselves a favor. Check it out now.
It's an absolute disservice that I haven't watched it until now.
I wouldn't call it a disservice.
I wouldn't say disservice.
To myself.
It's a disservice to yourself, yes, but it's not like, ooh, bad, like, you haven't watched this movie and, everyone should watch The Breakfast Club sort of thing. And then
I've never seen The Breakfast Club.
I'm guilty of being a bit of a purist and reacting that way.
I hadn't seen, Ferris Bueller's Day Off until recently.
Oh, wow.
And up until that point, I'd always just been like, Matthew Broderick's a wet towel. And then I've seen that. I'm like, I love Matthew Broderick.
He really suited that role. No, I'm guilty of doing it for anyone that hasn't seen Predator, The Godfather, original Terminator or Terminator 2, Alien, but that one gets a miss for being horror. But yeah, I digress.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Anyway, we should continue on and travel a little bit further back into time.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back Catalogue.
This is going to hurt your brains.
Oh, no.
We're going to be talking about the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which we did touch on briefly when we were talking about Kyoto Animation a few months ago, quite a few months ago actually. But you might have seen Haruhi Suzumiya's little personage floating around the internet. She became very, very popular. I've seen stickers of the SOS Brigade's logo or her form in red on the back of race cars.
This thing became an instant classic when it was released. Everyone just sort of fell in love and was intrigued.
Now, this was done by Kyoto Animation. Season 1 aired in 2006. Season 2, 2009, followed by the film in 2010. Comedy, mystery, parody, school, sci-fi. But this is the important part, slice of life. This isn't actually talking about something with massive world-ending implications, but at the same time, it is.
Yeah, I feel like the term slice of life is just kind of thrown around a lot. I mean,
I think it's because half the episodes qualify for it.
Well, I feel like slice of life just means, it's set in a high school and there's some real-world stuff going on, but also dragons.
Yeah, fair enough. It's originally from a light novel series by Naguru Tanigawa, and if you've not seen Haruhi or heard of it, here's basically the rundown. Typical high school student Kyo-Ani, he's long given up on his belief in any form of supernatural behavior or anything. So he then meets Haruhi Suzumiya, a rather strange and eccentric girl in his class, and quickly finds out it's the supernatural she's interested in most. Aliens, time travelers, espers. She actually declares to the classroom, I have no interest in normal humans. I am only interested if you're an alien, a time traveler, or an esper.
Would you call this Chunibyo?
I feel like there's an element of Chunibyo, except it's a bit more than that, because technically speaking, Haruhi is God.
Wow.
Yeah, so with a lack of what Haruhi deems to be good clubs in the school, Kyo-Ani accidentally inspires her to form her own club. So the SOS Brigade is formed, a club which specialises in all that is supernatural.
I feel like you need to go back to the part where you said she's God.
Yeah, much to his chagrin, Kyon, along with the silent bookworm Yuki Nagato, the shy and timid Mikuru Asahina, and the perpetually smiling Itsusaki Kazumi are recruited as members, each being a alien, a time traveler, and Esper.
To their knowledge?
Yeah, well, they are aware of it. Haruhi is not.
That's beautiful.
So
The
Haruhi
literally willed them into existence.
That's incredible. She is God.
She is God.
She has
She's
the
God,
power
and
of
she
God
does
and
not
anime on her
know.
side.
Exactly.
And so these three different parties are part of organizations, if I remember correctly.
Yep, Kyon is the only normal one, and these three individuals who have joined the club are actually there on behalf of their organization to study Haruhi, because they're just like, she has broken everything.
So wait, so they're kind of willed into existence, but they belong to organizations which would probably have some kind of a history.
Yeah.
So did she will that entire history into
We have no idea. I've been reading the manga. I'm still not sure.
I feel like this needs to go next to time travel. It's something you just don't do.
It's one of those don't ask
Don't be
questions,
God.
just enjoy.
Like, well,
Don't be God.
It's only like, you know, if you're a god, okay, it causes problems. But when you're a time traveling god as well, that's an even bigger problem. So
Don't be a time traveling god.
So let's address the elephant in the room about the Haruhi Suzumiya series. Episode order. It was originally aired in non-linear order, meaning episodes were interspaced with each other. The prologue and the first 7 chapters of the first novel were intermixed with chapters from the later novels. The next episode preview features 2 different episode numberings. One from Haruhi, which is the correct chronological order. Yep. And one from Kyon, who is giving them the broadcast order. The DVD release starts with episode 0, and they are then shown in chronological order. It gets better. The second season was aired in Japan as part of a re-airing of the whole series, with the new episodes mixed in with the first season, because some of those happened during the first season.
Oh, come on.
Horrific. Also, how do you have an episode 0?
Yep,
That's not how it works.
The episode 0 is the film they made. So they show you the film they made before the season starts.
Oh yeah, the characters make a short film during the show because
Yep.
Haruhi wants to basically become rich and famous.
Yep.
I would die for her.
So to make sense of this series, the second airing that happened in 2009, where it has them in chronological order, a lot of people argue about this, but if you're completely unfamiliar with this, seeing things out of order is confusing.
Yeah, I did take a look into a couple of forums. Even just to this year, there are still
It's still a
hardcore
50-50 split.
debates on what the correct order is.
Like there are anime purists who say you should watch it in the broadcast order because that's the order it was broadcast in for a reason. Well, by the same thing, you can get on and say that Endless 8 was a great idea, despite it being the same episode 8 times, which we'll get to in a second. So there's a lot of speculation that the original broadcast order was so the first season would actually end on a high, because you've got 6 episodes essentially, which are the first book. And if that ended in the middle of the season, then the last 6 episodes kind of feels a bit redundant.
I guess.
Because of that. But when you take into account the whole 25 episodes combined, it actually works.
I'm kind of reminded of another series, Firefly. That was like this it became immensely popular afterwards, but it was aired in the wrong order, not intentionally, just because of poor management. And because of that, it didn't get its second series, which is long considered a crime against media to this day.
It honestly is
So
such a crime.
how can it be that, something like that
purposely
happens
did
to
this.
Firefly, but
Yeah.
if it's done to this anime...
Hey, fun fact. What year was Firefly?
Oh,
Mid-2000s, wasn't it?
don't tell me it's around the same.
I think it's within 18 months of the airing of Haruhi either side. That Firefly came out in the wrong order, and Haruhi's come out in technically the wrong chronological order.
Oh, sweet mother of Hestia.
So
It came out in 2002.
2002, yeah, there you go. So 4 years after. So look, but the thing is that the non-linear order is how it's written in the light novels. It kind of jumps and changes. So you have the light novel covers one thing, and then a book of short stories, and then another the third light chapter, third volume of the light novel continues the main story, and then another interspersed section of short stories. But as far as like the actual chronology goes, it makes sense to watch it in the chronological order because it now doesn't have to end on a high because you end with the film, which is by far probably the best part of the Haruhi series. It's just so well done. And that's only the 4th book, and there's like 18 books.
Oh,
it's
goodness.
like I'm slowly making my way through the manga, and
See, this is why you don't do time travel. Everything's out of order. Just don't do it.
Let's address Endless 8. So, second season of Haruhi came out. You had the first episode, Bamboo Leaf Rhapsody, which was great, which technically happens after the end of episode chronological 6. So that's one which is then you have to watch during the first season.
Okay.
And then Endless 8 happens. And Endless 8 is a series of time loops.
What?
Yeah. So it's resulting in the characters repeating the last week of their summer holidays over and over until Haruhi is satisfied. Haruhi doesn't realize she's put everyone in a time loop and acts the same every time. And as they never remember that it's almost a time loop, when it resets, they have to figure it out again. The only person who knows it's a time loop is Nagato, because technically she's an alien who is located somewhere else but just embodying the character. So she's the only one who's aware, but she's quiet and her role is to be non-interferial. She's just meant to observe. So technically she can't tell them that they're in a time loop until they figure it out.
Oh, God.
So as they never remember that it's a time loop, when it resets, they have to figure it out again. It goes on for 15,000 cycles. That's almost 300 years.
Wow, they aged well.
Yeah, they aged really well. It resets on the night of August 30 every time. And to be honest, like, they did it and everyone in the community hated it. It's not how it was done in the manga. It's not how it's done in the light novel.
So why is it so reviled?
It's essentially the same episode 8 times, just with different things added and removed. They might go to the Obon Festival one episode, or might go to the beach instead the next episode, or go to the beach twice, or go to the pool twice. Yeah. But
that's nuts.
Here's how you watch it. Watch episode 1 to understand what's going on. Episode 2, where they discover what's going on, and then watch episode 8, and you're done.
And so the rest of those episodes are
the same as episode 2.
Gee, gods.
Yeah.
Bad.
So, I mean, look, everyone hates it because they're like, you wasted 8 weeks of my time. Can you imagine? Like, you were excited for Haruhi, and it's just like, I don't know when it's going to stop.
Maybe it'll be different this week.
Is this a rerun? No. What's going on?
Exactly.
Maybe it'll be different next week.
Yeah, so all the rest of the episodes are the same as episode 2 with just slight changes. But if you watch things in, like, the chronological order it recommends, you have, like, you know, your first thing, the big story arc, which explains the relationship between Kyo and Haruhi. And then you've got all these little side stories. Then you've got them making the film, Endless 8 happening. And then it finishes with the film, which is Kyon getting sent back in time. Well, he gets sent back in time during the series, and then he gets sent back to a parallel world in time. Yep.
He's the reason why we got Dragon Ball Evolution, isn't it?
No. I still blame that on Haruhi.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, so the film is a parallel world where Haruhi actually went to a different school and wasn't so Chunibyo, but is still God.
Oh.
And that then created a spin-off series called The Disappearance of Nagato Yuki, because in this world, Nagato is not an alien. You know, all the characters are not...
She's just a very, very sweet girl from what I saw of the manga.
Yeah, and it's adorable. And that's the world which he accidentally ends up in. And, you know, Nagato, being a young girl, really likes Kyon. And it's really cute.
That's very precious.
But the way the film works and plays out is he's gone back to before the events of the first episode of Haruhi, and he's now experiencing the same storyline in this alternative setting, essentially.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's really cool because, like, Haruhi's at a different school.
It's same but different.
Yeah, it's just everything slightly off kilter, and it's it's really well done. I can't even remember how they ended up there. I think it might even be Nagato that sent him over into that spot, or someone's messed with the timeline. You got to go fix it, sort of thing.
Sounds bonkers.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good watch, and I can highly recommend it.
Just quickly, looking up what Haruhi actually names the club. It's called the SOS Brigade, which is short for Spreading Excitement All Over the World with Haruhi Suzumiya Brigade, which is very cute and very long.
Yeah, and depending on which translation you get, there's variations like Save Our World with Overloading It with Fun, Haruhi Suzumiya Brigade.
I like that it has her name in it, though. That's very
Every
cute.
single one of them has Haruhi Suzumiya Brigade.
Yes.
And because when she initially goes to put the club form and it just was called Haruhi Suzumiya's Club.
Oh,
and they're just like, You can't do that.
You can't do that. You need at least 3 club members. That's every club anime ever.
Oh, yeah. And
Oh, no, we need to get... And
we
then
might
an
get
exchange
disbanded.
student. And then there's an exchange student who comes, who's the Esper.
Yes.
Yep. So you've got Yuki, who they overtake her club because she was the only member of the book club. Essentially, the literary club. So they absorb her into it, take her room, and then you've got Asahina, who's just like, I need an idol sort of character, someone who's pretty and good looking, and she's from the year above us, so I'll drag her into it. And then there's the mysterious exchange student who's an Esper, and it's like, you must also come.
Just also join us. We'll be your friends.
Kyo-Ani's just sitting there going, am I the only normal person here? And
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Am I the only normal person in the school? Yes.
You're the
Every other
token
anime
normal
is happening
friend.
here.
Yes. But look, if you want to check it out, you can find it on Anime Lab, Crunchyroll, Funimation, and Netflix. Varies depending on region, but it'll be on one of those 4 platforms and can highly recommend it. The way it's normally listed is in the correct chronological order, so you don't get confused.
Oh, I'm already confused.
So
Yeah,
you won't
same.
have to worry
I've
about
watched
that.
it and I'm confused.
I know at least on Crunchyroll they have it all in the normal order, so all you have to do is just hit play and you can watch it through the way it's meant to be.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Crunchyroll.
So
Sponsor us, Crunchyroll, because I'm saying go to Crunchyroll, everyone.
give me delicious crunchy rolls. I
Give
could
me
actually go
rolls.
sushi. I could go a crunchy roll right now.
I could go a
I could always go a
I could
Crunchyroll.
go a sushi muffin.
You guys are making me hungry.
Dear. All right, now let's get on to our third and final time travel mess.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
We'll be there on time. Just 20 minutes of ads.
Cinema Club.
We should talk about time travel.
We should talk about time travel.
It's not
don't
we've
talk
never
about it
talked
enough,
that
do we?
before.
We need to talk about future, or as the Japanese call it, Mirai.
I can see the
That's
future.
beautiful. That's very good.
Anyway,
Good job.
so we are talking about Mirai no Mirai, or it's just called Mirai in the West.
It essentially translates as Mirai of the future.
Yes.
So go
The
figure.
future of the
Future
future.
the future, yes.
The future is now.
Now,
Time
this
wasting.
came out in 2018. Like we said, this is another great work from Hosoda Mamoru. This thing, this won some serious awards.
This
It's
did
beautiful.
really well.
I remember when this came out and I was like, this is so good.
Mm.
Like, I didn't see it until recently,
There's
but when it
something
was
truly
coming
beautiful
out,
about
it
it.
was everywhere all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so heartwarming, but oh my God, the crying children. Please stop.
Okay, but this one didn't make me cry, so I'm going to take the crying children over me crying.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
The children were done very, very well in that they were characterized to be exactly how children generally are.
Yeah, they did a really good job of actually giving you the vibe of what it would actually be like to be a parent with young children. Like,
Yes.
in particular, the struggle of becoming a parent where you've already got a child who's aware that they've got ownership of stuff. You know, it's about bringing a second child into a home and how that changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
Because now that first child isn't getting all of the love and attention, and so they start throwing tantrums and acting up. So I should probably give you guys a story. This follows a young family in the suburbs. Mother, father, family dog, and a little 4-year-old boy. And they're just welcoming in their new addition, as mentioned, the youngest baby sister, Mirai. So the boy quickly becomes jealous. And what else does a 4-year-old do but throw tantrums when jealous? Just
Yeah.
make demands and just be loud.
I mean, like, I understand it, but it's infuriating.
I'm sure at some stage you were a tantrum for
But
your
then,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
then something fascinating seems to start to happen on kind of a regular basis, involving a glowing tree.
It's an oak tree set in the
oak
middle of
tree.
the house.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
What happens is, whenever Ota starts to storm into the garden for not getting his way, a mysterious change occurs. Time travel-ish, but he's visited by a small but familiar assortment of characters that help him through getting used to this whole paradigm shift in his life. These characters will include an older version of his baby sister, Mirai, a humanoid version of their dog Yuko,
I loved him.
and a visit to his great-great-grandfather.
Which is very cool, that's
Oh, it's
That gave me chills a little. I was like,
Yeah,
this
it
is a
was-
beautiful scene. It's so sweet.
this whole thing. It is very much more of a child-centric movie. It's definitely a kids' movie, but there is something very mature about some of the themes.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah, they're definitely, especially with the grandfather, there is a lot more like more adult themes. But I think the film itself, whilst from a child's perspective, can be related to from kind of anyone of any age.
Easy watching for sure.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, definitely.
calm and
Actually,
comfortable.
something I really loved and spotted in that first scene before he goes, it's like sort of time hopping, if you will, is that when he's pulling out books to find a book to show to Mirai, his little sister, he pulls out a book called The Magic Garden and throws it behind him. He never puts that book away. You never see it appear again.
Whoa.
That is making the garden magical.
You think so?
That's kind
it
of...
also had.
yeah.
I originally thought he threw it away because I had an older sister and a younger brother on the cover as well.
Which also fits into what happens.
It does.
Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
does. Whoa, all the pieces are coming together.
Yes, it's all coming together.
Yeah, for me watching this, it's like for all the little changes that happened and just the hilarious ways that these future characters interacted with him and like interacted with his life in little ways, like trying to stay out of sight from the parents and stuff.
Yeah.
It had a kind of a Japanese Alice in Wonderland vibe for me.
Yeah, it did. Also, can I just say, that house, man, I'd love to live there.
Oh man,
Oh,
that'd
it
be.
was...
I would fall down all of those stairs all the time.
Yes,
but
it's this four-tiered kind of a house where like
I think there's more than
the
that,
living
to be
area is at
honest.
the top and then it goes down a tier. There's like the kitchen living area down a tier. There's a nice garden down a tier, play area for the kids.
Sort of a bit like mine and your old place that we rented like 5 or 6 years ago in South Perth.
Rosebery? Yeah.
Yeah, Rosebery, yeah. That
place was a
A
weird
rabbit
ass nightmare.
warren.
Yeah, like clearly they started out with a little house at the top, but it was on
And
the
they kept
hillside,
building.
so they kept building down the
Oh
hill.
no, that's
Oh, it was
bad.
crazy.
It was great, but
Loved
for
it.
entertaining.
Yes, I love in the first. Speaking of the house, in the very basically the first minute of the film, you kind of get a bird's eye view of the house, and it's kind of this suburb area with all these big houses, and then you see the small house right in the middle.
It's just sort of slotted into it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the space is only big enough for the house, and then there's a huge long garden out the front. And I think it kind of helps you understand that they are a young family. It kind of
And the father is an architect, so that's
Yes.
sort of, and it's explained in sort of like a throwaway line where the grandmother is commenting on a place going, figures, she married an architect and they live in a weird place like
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
it just kind of helps fit in and like make you understand where they're at as like a young couple. Is that they probably can't afford big fancy things. They both have great jobs, but they can't afford these big fancy things. So they make a home with what they have.
Yeah. One thing I do like a lot is that the film transitions really seamlessly between locations thanks to that magical garden. Like, they don't have to spend a massive amount of time setting the new scene. It when he ends up in that aircraft hangar, for instance, it was just, there was a wind blowing and then the actual clouds that come through help transition it. It goes to white and then you suddenly see what he sees and you're like, oh, we've changed location. Okay,
We
cool.
get it
And
now.
I think the art style changes a little, not for the characters themselves, but for the background. Like,
Yeah, it's set in the
especially
time.
in one moment, he goes to meet his mother when she was his age, which is such an unusual concept to think about if you like put yourself in his shoes. And it's more like watercolored. The background, the setting, there's a lot of like use of watercolor, less hard lines. It's
It's almost like, depending on the time period they go into, it will reflect the style of animation that would be used.
Yeah.
exactly, yes.
But I loved it. And I think in particular, there's so many beautiful scenes in this film. Let's be honest. Like, couldn't experience your snow for the first time, which is in like the first scene,
it
is
was
adorable.
So cute.
You know, Kun meeting his mum as a child is adorable. It's charged with emotions. The horse and motorbike scenes, they're so just incredibly done, as we mentioned. The train station scene is creepy as.
Oh, that really threw me.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And then the visuals used in that family index / family tree scene are wonderfully done. It showcases like important moments in the family's history, which connects to lots of throwaway comments that have been used.
Exactly. It's like I believe they talk about how the grandfather won a race to like get the grandfather to promise to marry him or something like that.
Yeah.
I might have messed that up.
Great grandfather won a race against the great grandmother
Great-grandmother.
to convince her to marry him.
But he had a
proposed.
bad leg, so they're
Yeah.
like debating over whether this was fact or just sort of like a big fish tale.
Yeah, he proposed, and she said, "If you can beat me to that tree, then I'll say yes."
Yeah.
He had a bad leg, and then the grandmother said, "Well, that can't be true because he had a bad leg; he couldn't run."
And so that there's a bit of a reveal in that last bit. And there's also when they're going through that whole index, looking at all the different time things out of order, or like in order. I time travel. The visuals are very, very similar to Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Like whenever she would do like a little time jump, like jump into the air and just whoop into a different time.
You mean a leap?
Leap, yes.
Ooh.
You'd get sort of like these visuals of like the internals of clocks and the big chronometer. And in this, it seemed like exactly the same thing, but more like a giant family tree lineage thing. And it's just like, okay, if you do another movie, are you going to do that again?
I think he might. It seems to be sort of like his sort of style.
Yeah, now that I think about it, as they're kind of going into this like family tree, they literally go into a tree and they're all kind of looking at all of the different like
branches of it.
The branches of it, yeah, it kind of looks like the rings of a tree as well when they're looking down into it. So that's actually kind of a cool aspect of it.
Thinking about it now, Summer Wars had some particularly similar visuals.
When they're in the computer world.
Yes, when they're in sort of like the Netscape. So I believe this is just sort of another sort of like, marker point of the director and artist style.
Yeah, stylistic choice.
Well, what I can say is that growing up Mirai is pretty cool.
Oh, she's great.
Even though she is technically the younger sister, her character acts as a mature older sister caring for her little brother who's time traveling. It's just so heartwarming.
It's beautiful.
And hilarious, especially when he's like, let's play the B game.
Yes.
It's just like, oh. I'm now going to use that. If I ever have kids, like...
And it's... there's another thing I feel like I need to mention because... when they were showing off the house, like that whole slanted tier system, there were moments where they used, and I know we kind of touch on this every now and then, but camera work in an animated production. Like there was this beautiful panning slide down to each section, showing the dad sort of like cleaning up in a different way or doing some different kind of housework or busy work. And I just, I was very drawn in just from that because camera work makes magic from the mundane. I say it.
Yep, fair. Well, the good news is that with Mirai, you can watch it. Once again, it depends on region, but it is available on Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. But if you can't get it on them, you can buy it through Amazon Prime around the world. You can buy it through Apple. I think even Microsoft Store has it now as well, and Hulu. I think it was Hulu was the last one, but there are ways to purchase and get hold of it if you can't, stream it locally, and it's not that expensive, like $3.
Oh, so that's great.
Totally worth
and
it.
especially at the moment, like if your kids are at home, this might be a good one to put on for them to make them learn.
Slip this in between some Ghibli productions. It's like
it fits in really well.
It fit in seamlessly, yeah. But yeah, look, that's pretty much all the time we've got to talk about Mirai, but I would give this 4 screaming children.
I don't think this is like one of those things that's going to become a classic like Girl Who Leapt Through Time, but it is a great kind of thing to see. It's something worth seeing, I'd say.
It definitely is. And I wanted to see this when it first came out, but it didn't show in our cinemas here, which was really frustrating. Or if it did, it was like one night and I was at work or something like that, but who knows. Anyway, we better head on off.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Bagpipes. Yes, you love the bagpipes, don't you, Kenny? Embrace the bagpipes. Well, that is, of course, all the time we do have for this episode, which seems to happen very quickly most of the time, doesn't it? So thanks so much for joining us. And, if you did have any thoughts on what we've been talking about, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear and see what you think. Next episode, it's season in review time.
What? Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here so quickly.
But there was barely... I mean, everything got delayed, sure, but...
You could say that time has flown by.
Oh, no.
No time travel.
The time has gone backwards. That's what's happened here. It's just not okay. But look, we'll be looking at the shows that have come out this season, what we thought about them. The ones that obviously got delayed, we'll leave until they're completely finished and maybe do... Or until they've re-aired and then do another chat about them later. But there's obviously only so much we can do with what's happening with coronavirus.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed listening, make sure you like and subscribe to our latest episodes to get your latest episodes straight to your device.
Yes. And don't forget, head over to our Instagram and Facebook pages for breaking anime news and videos.
Yes, now you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thanks once again so much for joining us. And until next time,
watch some anime!